So maybe let's go back to what you had to go through or what it took for you to get where you are today. We were talking about entrepreneurs who tend to be, busy all the time, very passionate about what they do. Can you walk us through the process for building Momentom? What are the celebrations you want to share with us? What are the challenges you went through?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you tackle that one. Coming, like I mentioned earlier, just working in a third world country, you have language barriers, you have technological barriers, you have a different way of negotiating with people and different ways of it's a full list of just operating in a place like Nicaragua or Guatemala, especially when you have to deal with things like, unfortunately, Nicaragua right now has gone through starting with civil war, so we had to shut down our residency early. Things like that you just can't plan, you would never plan for operating in Canada. So that's its own challenge. But I guess
I think for me the biggest challenge was when you don't have the perfect vision of what your feeling is, and you know that it feels intuitively right to follow, and you can't really explain it because it's never happened before, so you just have to trust in your feeling. And then the amount of time I heard, like, when are you going to get a real job? And I'd be like, but I don't enjoy, I'm not thriving, and I have a feeling that I should keep going. So it's like following that feel good inside yourself and ignoring those that say that you shouldn't. I think would have been my biggest challenge, and I'm really glad that I had a partner that was able to keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What else?
There's that kind of faith and drive challenge, and it's like, does the rest of the world have the same crazy vision that we do? But just trusting it and going forward. But then there's like all the logistical things that come, like it's hard, like Johnny says, to set up in remote countries, and there's like volcanoes going off, there's wars, there's like flights that we have to deal with, visas. We had that incident in Panama where we couldn't get back into Nicaragua because we didn't have yellow fever vaccinations. Yeah, you just have to become the jack of all trades and learn a little bit about everything.
Exactly, like, to do what we did, I didn't know how many jacks of trades we needed to accomplish that. Now I can see a business and be like, okay, HR, management, graphic designing, PR, all of it. I can see it. But back then, I didn't know, and I didn't have any business background.
Maybe it was better like that.
It was, but it was like the
we've never done it.
Yeah, and it probably was like the reason why we were able to learn how to do it more unconventionally. But I do see now that, like, probably one of the best secrets in terms of creating a big vision is to only do the things that you really love to do, and then partner with people whose skills they love to do but that you don't have. So we really complement each other. Like, for some reason, Johnny is really a geek with accounting. Like, he kind of likes it.
Who didn't know?
Exactly. Whereas, like, Theresa's like such a bombshell. She can be like a model and be a performer, but behind the scenes, she's the one doing the website. Or for me, I really, really enjoy doing like partnership or like convincing my partners of doing big ideas. Like, there's all of us really complement each other, and I think that I didn't know that back in the day. I would have said, like, not to try to do everything all at the same time. But yeah.
So much more than just the Instagram photos show. I mean, a day in the life, let's say in Nicaragua, our Circus Island project. So that residency, essentially in any given day, you're running a restaurant, you're running a hotel, you're running a transport system, you're running a schedule, you're running a retreat.
Did you say you were multi-project / multi-potential at the beginning? Yes,
well,
you are.
Yeah, exactly. You're creating a system for accounting. You're running a social project. You're psychologists for people when they need it because they're so open. They're normally having either a breakdown or a breakup or whatever you're calling it. All these things are happening. And you have to be so prepared and grounded in your own self. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to accomplish all these things. So
it's kind of like a juggling act.
It's like a juggling act on hyperspeed, where you just really have to you have to work on light speed. You have to really delegate or figure things out, and then turn around and hold a meditation. You know what I mean? You have to turn around and then lead, an aerials class, or grab the guitar and entertain people when the power goes out, and blah blah blah. Or you never just you have to just say yes, 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 and you can't say no. You can't have a breakdown. You can't have, you know.
It makes you really, really strong.
Yeah.
So what would be one advice to give to someone who wants to start a business?
Follow the feel good, and don't give up. Keep going.
Okay.
I would say.
What would you say?
Build your tribe. Find people that support you, and whether people to partner with or your audience, and really just build on that, because there's people that want you to succeed, and you want to hold them close, and you want to treat them well, because you'll need that support for the first while. I guess even for me to see Momentom, even last year was the first formal year that we had the residency, and we were still explaining our concept so much to people, like, so what is this, or what's going on? We're still trying to pitch people in hostels, like, don't come there, come stay with us, you'll be blah, blah. So yoga and circus, like, what kind of, there's animals there, and like people just they don't really get it. Whereas like when I went to go on the boat to pick up the first 25 people, we were sold out the first month, and we're all just like trying to get all this 2 aerial rigs set up on this island, and we're trying to like figure things out and get a food system so we can get food delivered. We had 2 goats on another island. We had to give our compost too. We had all this stuff happening, and I go to show up, and these people, and I'm like, I have no idea what to expect. Like these people that I'm gonna go pick up 20 people on a boat, and I pull up, and I've got my top hat on. I'm like, welcome guys, and I look out, and they have guitars, and they have hula hoops. They've got poles. They have all types of things, and I was just like, oh man, like they're ready. They know who we are. They know what to expect, and it was just the highest vibration just to kick off the year. It was so powerful. So we trusted in the project, and we built our tribe to the point that we didn't have to explain ourselves so much anymore. And then from there, the word of mouth spreads, and from there, people, you know, you've got that thing, but you have to really work hard to find your niche, find your market, find your people, find your tribe, and then it'll expand from there.
Yeah. I would for sure say trust that vision, because there's a lot of people who from the outside who will tell you how to run your business and what to do, but it's got to come from the heart. So always trust your vision, and once you do that, you're going to start attracting those people who are your tribe.
Yeah, and then in the same breath, like understanding the emerging industries as well. Like, you know, I spend time understanding cryptocurrency. I understand where the world is going in terms of digital nomad spaces. I study where the world is going to be able to have a bigger picture of the ecosystem that I live in. You know, even if the system, I don't really agree with some of them, but I understand where I am in terms of that. And, you know, also, these are emerging industries, and be the leader in the emerging industries that you create. Be the leader in that.
Can you talk more about that? You are part of that nomadic movement that is happening. There are more and more digital nomads.
Yeah.
Who are those people? What do they do? You are digital nomads.
We are.
Right?
We are. But I think it's where the world is going. Really, I think that in the next few years, like, not the 9 to 5 thing is going to be something of the past. Like, I think I also really believe that circus arts are actually the best. Circus artists are the best nomads. They know what they're doing. They made the Silk Road. They are always on the road. So understanding how they do it is just like, to see street artists and how they do it is really impressive, actually. And I've learned a lot on the street side of things, but also the digital nomads. Like, it's just, I don't think that there's much to say about that, just because I think it's where the entire world is going. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does.
yeah.
It does. What would you think about it?
I mean, Momentom kind of came up with first that fusion of yoga and circus arts, and then it just kind of naturally collected some digital nomads up with that open space, that open format. And then as things started booming, and there's more and more in the last 3 years alone, I think there's, I don't know, I can make up some unknown statistic, but there's been such a huge boom of co-working spaces, and especially digital nomad spaces, where people realize, hey, I can live somewhere else. All I need is the internet and a laptop. Why am I paying such high rent in a big city when I could be surfing in the morning and then working during the day and paying low rent? Or exactly, with other like-minded people, or not in -30, or any of these things. So it's kind of, people are waking up to that fact, and it's beautiful to see them wake up to different cultures as well. So yeah, I think it's something that's really coming up. And again, to be a digital nomad, you still want to connect with people. You want to connect. You want to find that community. So there's that need to be a sense of belonging, or someone else that speaks your language as well. There's definitely that drive that people are looking for that space, and there's something about traveling that it excites people. It creates these ideas, and especially as a creative entrepreneur, there's some sort of ideas in this drive that you get when you're traveling around the road or in a different place that just turns your brain on in a total different way than you would be in a blank office in the middle of winter. So there's something to be said about that. And kind of like the other point of discussing the things on how to overcome, big part of traveling and being a digital nomad, you learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's such an important part as a traveler, as an entrepreneur. You realize you just have to be okay with these situations when you're trying to figure out some new part of your business that you haven't figured out yet, whether it's international tax laws or trying to figure out what to do with all these people when you're in a country that's that's being under threat for political unrest. So that's all part of being a traveler and a young entrepreneur. And there's still some sort of comfort there. There's some sort of fire that ignites you as a digital nomad.
And I think we are also moving to, we talk more and more about entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. And with the millennial generation coming on board, they want that as well. They want to be, to have more flexibility. They have this entrepreneurship mindset. And I'm just wondering what companies will actually do and how they will accommodate those people. Do you have any suggestions for the typical corporate company? What is it that they have
Community.
to do, or
Yeah,
community?
I think so. I think you see even like things in the Silicon Valley where they're realizing, okay, we have to have more flexibility. People don't want to work 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
People want to have time to play foosball or go out for, have these, these get-togethers or these brainstorming sessions that are informal, and different ways to make your brain rest, because you need to suspend your thoughts sometimes to kind of let these creative ideas jolt in. Maybe it's a weekend off at Burning Man where people are going out, or that's where the arts and entrepreneurship kind of fuses together with the community. You need to have that space, because if you just have a blank piece of paper and you create something, make art, or make a business proposal. Yeah, exactly. You need more openings to that. And I think community is such a big part of that, and freedom to let those ideas come in when they come in, whether it's working late or starting late or any of these things outside the box.
So I think they're also going to need to understand how to become more remote. As more and more people are going to want to be leaving the office, I think they're going to need to be able to understand how to have a corporate culture that's not like being right here, right now. And that is yet to come, because that is like a perspective from a corporate worldview, where it's like, I'm more of like the perspective from the grassroots, I don't know how much the big corporation is going to be the big corporation that we know it today in about 10, 20 years.
And yeah, coming back to the community thing, you got to have fun with your coworkers. I feel like that's such a big thing in office culture that, team building, they call it. And we're figuring it out now that, you need to have some room to have fun. And especially if you can incorporate things like acro yoga, where there's trust built in, there's that connection, there's the physicality, getting out, maybe playing some sports with your fellow people, but some sort of fun and movement away from business. So it's not always the serious side. You can have fun and kind of complete the friendship and relationship of being with the people that you're working with. Will help those ideas be so fun and creative.
And actually, just to wrap that question up, and also to come back to the advice I would give, I would say that the idea that work is separate from life is very like dinosaur to me. Like, it's very ancient. For me, I love my job. There's no difference between my job and the life that I lead. So I think once they start blurring those lines, and maybe it's through community or acro yoga or whatever, but as long as they start blurring those lines, because it's when the human doesn't want to feel pressure to go to work. And then, it's 5 o'clock, I get to leave now, or I get Fridays off. It's like, that's so strange, you know? It's like,
Bad.
so I would say corporations should maybe start blurring the lines a little bit.
Yeah, we used to talk about work-life balance, but it's very outdated. And then we started talking about integrating work and life. And I think it's even starting to be outdated. I don't know what the new term is.
Lifestyle.
It could be, yeah.
But then at the same time, you do have to know when to turn off and have time for yourself. I think
Absolutely.
The digital nomads, we're on our phones more than ever. We're connected more than ever. And knowing when to turn that off and just really soak up, especially when you're traveling or in these other environments, or just the people around you, just be able to connect without the
This
without
is
the
very much
connection.
where the introspection comes in to understand what that balance is for you. And to just
Respect.
be just to be really self-directed, and it's like, okay, I need this right now, and I'm going to give myself this right now.
In the introduction I've made about you, so I've used what you sent me, and you're talking about inspiring the millennial generation to take action in creating their own reality. Well, what do you mean by that, and how do you support that?
So if I were to answer that, I think that there's a saying that says, do something that you don't like to do every day just for practice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that yogic saying of finding comfort in discomfort. So doing something that you are scared of doing, a lot of people are like, I'm gonna go do a circus island in the middle of Nicaragua, that's crazy. Just do it. And then coming in, what Johnny was saying, coming in with an open mind and allowing other people's world perspectives to not influence your own, but to observe it without judgment, to understand different types of perspectives so that you can see the world in a larger way, and you can also tap into your own worldview easier. And to create I guess without going too far into this, it's just, there's also an understanding that we live in a universe of infinite realities, and really you are the one that chooses which one you step into. So if you limit your reality to just having one way, which is what we've seen, in previous decades, then you're limiting yourself to following the sheep movement that everyone is doing. So when you sit and you say, wait a second, why do I believe that this is the only way of doing something? Take that out and start looking at various realities that you can step into. Then all of a sudden you realize that you are in control of your destiny. You are in control of your destiny. And and also the classes that you step into, the more different types of classes, meditation, yoga, movement, and listening to entrepreneurs having done it in different ways, you'll be able to shape what you want for yourself as long as you know how to tap into your highest excitement. So that's a lot of words, but that's how I would define that one.
How would you define that?
It's a pretty accurate description right there.
Yeah, we'll just go with that one.
So what's next for you? What's your next possibility?
Indonesia.
Your next reality? Indonesia, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next residency.
Yes.
Residency. So it's the first time that we're off the Americas and in the South Pacific. So I'm very excited to be close to Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. The venue we've stepped it up. We're going to be incorporating a surf lifestyle as well. So it's a lot of new things happening in
I think we're going to be showing that video after anyway. But
yeah.
another thing for us is an interesting thing about business, I'm sure everybody in the room can attest to this, is that when you think of your business as a lifestyle, your business is a reflection of you. Really, it is a reflection of you. And where we're going, we started a branding package for young entrepreneurs or creative entrepreneurs that want to be more sustainable. So in-house, we have all the skills to be able to create a business. So we're taking in a few applicants where say, she wants to come in and we are able to say, okay, let's find what is your passion. Okay, your passion is this. Let's look at the market. This is the gap in the market. Let's create a unique brand and identity for you. Then we create a website for them, a business card for them, logo for them, and then we hand it over to Johnny where he describes or teaches how to go viral in your marketing strategy. So we are tapping into that and having more of a passive income as well while we're in residency. So a lot of different juggling things.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys.